Good morning to you. It must be 5 a.m. on the East Coast. My name is Brandon Hardison because it's time for another edition of Hardison'S Tips. First of all, I'd like to thank my guest yesterday, Mr. Richie Bello, talking about lead generation and some of the other things that are coming out with technology in our industry moving forward. But today we want to look at beginning salespeople, not automotive, more for the ones that have been in the world of key account, major account, up and down the street. Different strategies than people coming to you, which happens at a brick and mortar, even though with COVID, we're finally using the technology to get them out. But for those who have to go out and find the old traditional way of how do we cold call, go through warm calls, networking, whatever it may be. But if you're thinking about doing this, and I'm talking to Sarah, who sent me this email, here's just some tips for that. First strategy, I would entitle Date First. You see that the first tip that I'm going to give you belongs to that overall thing called relationship building. I want you to think that using a dating metaphor as an analogy begins. It's fun, it's easy to understand. You know that you're out trying to find a date and you wouldn't just walk up to anyone. You find a way to start conversations with people that are hopefully in like mind like you. Well, why wouldn't you do the same thing when it comes to business? The amazing thing about it is that the more people we talk to, it's a numbers game, the more of these people that fit into our relationship factor will come out. But that means going through numbers. People hate rejection, and after a few times, they shut down. In sales, it's a conversation. We're talking. As we're talking, either I know I can move forward with what I'm trying to do with my business, or let this be as a conversation because there's no way that it's going to work. Second thing, Sarah, how about believing in you? Yes. With hearing so many no's, the human body and mind starts to shut down. In other words, I cannot take people continuing to say no to what I'm trying to present. It's a business, it's numbers. Believe me, the more people that you talk to, the more people that you send emails out to, the more folks that you cold call, warm call, see in the grocery store, you need to be telling your story all the time. And as an entrepreneur, you'll finally get to where you need to be. No objections. People who are looking to start a new business, work for a new company, they have exceptions. In other words, they're talking like they're employees again and not really an entrepreneur. And here's what I mean. I punch in at 9, I leave at 5, I stop talking. No matter what you're doing, whether you're going shopping, whether you're going out with some friends, whether you're going to a religious order, whether you're going to some social event, If there are people around, you need to be telling your story. Sales is a numbers game. The more we had on our side of the pipeline, I guarantee you these are potential clients or they know someone who could use your product and services. Next thing, Sarah, I would say to you is please listen. Tips are out there, all kinds of ways to get people to listen. And the reason being is that not just in sales, but in relationships in general, people just don't like to listen. We like to talk, but we don't like to listen. If you listen to what someone says, you can really tune in if your product or services is worthy for them. Plus, by asking questions, good high gain questions, here's what they're telling you, how they live their lives, because most people don't change unless something really upset in their life. Someone passed, someone left them some money, someone gave them a raise. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. So by you listening, you'll hear some pain if they're a decision maker. You'll hear some pleasure points that they're hoping for if they hit their numbers on the next quarter. That's where you want to interject yourself. But listening is a tough thing for anyone to do. But here's the secret that most people fail to understand about listening, asking questions, taking copious notes. Once the conversation is finished, whether it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do you recap? Do you recap everything you said with that person? If you're not recapping, they're thinking that you heard one thing, you are writing down, taking notes of what you thought. Why would you leave the table not confirming and agreeing on what your product and service can do for them? Recap. Thank you for these past 10 minutes. I have a better idea of what your needs, wants, and desires are. But let me make sure I am having a good morning. Did I hear you say that you had to have? Did I hear you say two things happen? It shows the customer, potential customer, that you're listening. And second, if there is some changes, they can let you know, well, no, here's what I really meant because the first one didn't make sense and I thought about it. Make the adjustments, repeat it again, and now find that product or offer that service that can fit into their world. Once again, Brad Hardison, president of Champion Strategies, with a little Hardison'S tips for a beautiful October the 8th. You get dressed, you stay positive, you get out there and feed yourself. And always remember, you go out and make it a champion.